Welcome to the Music Nut Program. I'm John. Thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome back to the latest edition of the Album War. On today's show, I will attempt to answer the 50-some-year-old question: fragile or not fragile? See the contestants here in the Album War. As in the memory of the late, great Pete Shelley, I give you another show from a different kitchen. Today's first contestant is known throughout the world. They are one of the greatest bands of our lifetime, certainly greatest progressive rock bands. A lot of people say they are the greatest progressive rock band of all time. This was released on January 4, 1972. This would be this band's fourth album. This would be the album that would make this band superstars. I'm talking about Yes with Fragile. This is the cassette bought in high school many, many years ago. And here's the remastered CD. Our other contestant is one of the best exports that Canada has ever given us here in the United States. This album was released on or in August 1974 on Mercury Records. This would be this band's biggest record, and this would also be a huge band album for the band. It would give them a #1 hit here in the States as well as a #1 album. I'm talking about Bachman-Turner Overdrive and Not Fragile. Also bought this in high school. Here is how you can get the CD these days. They're doing these 2 albums on 1 CD, and Not Fragile and their next album, 4-Wheel Drive, are on this collection. So these are 2 albums that have been played heavy on album-oriented rock stations or mainstream rock stations or classic rock stations for the last 50 years. They don't sound the same. They're great. It's like apples and oranges, totally different bands. So what I do here on the Album War series, if you've ever watched this before, if you've never watched the channel before, welcome. And on here, what I do is I get 2 albums with the same title. I talk about what I like about the albums, what I'm not so crazy about, and then tell you who wins the album or what is my favorite in my opinion. This time I'm going with Fragile, Not Fragile, because I thought this would work very well. And these albums are very entrenched in my DNA. Let's go with Yes is Fragile. On this album, we have John Anderson on lead vocals, Steve Howe on guitars, Chris Squire on bass, Rick Wakeman on a plethora of keyboards, and Bill Bruford on drums and percussion. This would be the album that would really break Yes in the United States because of this first track I'm about to talk about, one of the most exciting hit singles everyone ever in the United States, roundabouts. This, along with Carry On Wayward Son by Kansas, are the highest charting progressive rock hit singles. This, I believe, hit #12 in the United States, and you could see why. Because, like Carry On Wayward Son, this song is hook after hook after hook. It starts with that little acoustic guitar ditty, and you have that drama in there, and then it goes into that main theme with Chris Squire's Rickenbacker bass right up front. It rocks like hell. The bass is very up front for a song from 1972 that wasn't a funk song. Everyone's performance on here is sublime. It is a very memorable song. It's the most memorable song by Yes. It's not their biggest hit that would come 11 years later with Owner of a Lonely Heart when they totally changed their sound. This is way more progressive, but there are so many exciting parts of this song. One of the best bridges I've ever heard in a song, period. It is fantastic. Everybody here shines like the sun. Wonderful vocal performance from John. Those bass lines from Chris are to die for. Rick Wakeman's keyboards sound great here, very ethereal and grandiose. Got some great guitar lines, whether it's acoustic or electric from Steve. And Bill puts on a clinic on the drums. Excellent track. Now, when this album was made, they put some short song snippets in here. If I remember correctly, I didn't go back and do any research. I'm trying to work off muscle memory. I think they did this for more of they to get Rick in the band. They had to pay for all of his keyboards, and they did this more for publishing reasons. If I'm wrong, let me know, because I know a lot of you out there that watch what I do are big into Yes. So we get Cans and Brahms. This is Rick's solo piece. All the band members have a solo piece here. Extracts from Brahms' Fourth Symphony in E minor, third movement. This is very, very good. Of the five solo parts here, I like this one quite a lot. It's probably this and another one are among my favorites. This is very good. Then we have Heaven, which is John Anderson's solo spot with the multi-recorded vocals. It's okay. It never really grabbed me in the 38 years that I've owned this album. I like it. I don't love it. But then we go into South Side of the Sky, and this is the one long, like proper song on the album that you didn't hear much on AOR. And it's a pretty good track. The verse and the chorus is very cool. The solo part is Rick doing a long piano solo, and it kind of sounds out of place on the song. It brings it down just a little bit for me. But other than that, I think the song kicks ass. 5% for Nothing. This is Bill Bruford's short drum song part here. I could take it or leave it. I was never really big into it. It just sounds like an interlude to me. Then we go into Long Distance Runaround. This was heavy on album-oriented rock radio, and it was part of a twofer. You would always hear this, and then you'd always hear the next track, The Fish, which would be Chris's solo contribution, although we have the whole band in here. I always heard these together to the point where the first 2 years I just thought this was all Long Distance Runaround. I'm sure a lot of people who got into Yes a little bit later thought that, but they're separate pieces. Long Distance Runaround has this great stop-start rhythm to it. It has a lot of great hooks in it. The bass is really up front on here. Really strong track. And it gets really atmospheric near the end when it goes into The Fish. The Fish is pretty cool. It ends more like it plays more like an outro to Long Distance Runaround. But I think you got to put these two songs together for it to work. And it sounds great. Mood for a Day. This is Steve Howe's classical guitar piece. This I always liked. It's very, very well done. Then we go into Heart of the Sunrise. Now, this is heavy and dramatic at the same time. It is excellent. This song kills. If you're new to Yes, if you don't think they can rock out or be heavy, you gotta listen to Heart of the Sunrise, because this is wickedly heavy for 1972. When I say heavy and dramatic, it's because it's got those heavy parts of the song where the bass is really leading the way. Excellent rhythms on here, and then it just stops, and then it gets a lot very tranquil with John Anderson's vocal coming in. John's vocal performance on here is to die for. This is his best vocal performance on the album, one of the best vocal performances he probably ever did with Yes. But this is excellent. It's very long. It's 10.5 minutes, progressive rock. We're going to have those longer, more developed pieces, those hills and valleys. Very strong track. This and Roundabout are my favorite songs on the album, although Roundabout has more hooks. Roundabout, touch overplayed over the years on your album, Oriented Rock. I love them both, but Heart of Sunrise ends this album very, very strong. Yes is Fragile. Probably my third or fourth favorite album by Yes, but we'll get into that more. Now, Bachman-Turner Overdrive, not Fragile. This would be the band's unquestioned high point, in my opinion, critically and commercially. Commercially, number one in the US. You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet was a number one single. And this is where the band really put it all together. This was the third album after their self-titled debut and Bachman-Turner Overdrive 2. Bachman-Turner Overdrive or Bachman-Turner Overdrive, if you prefer, because Randy Bachman pronounces his last name like that. This is Randy Bachman on guitars and lead vocals, C.F. Turner on bass and lead vocals, Blair Thornton on guitars, and Robbie Bachman on drums. Blair Thornton came in on this album replacing Randy's brother, Tim Bachman. So this album cuts like a knife. It is killer. The opening title song with that, you hear that opening bass part, and then the rest of the band kick in heavy as sin. C.F. Turner always had the gruff vocals compared to Randy, but it was very soulful voice as well. And he sang a lot of the hits. This kills. It just hits you right in the guts, grabs you by the throats. Very, very memorable riff. Very, very strong. Rock is my life, and this is my song. Probably my favorite song by Bachman-Turner Overdrive. Randy sings this one. As far as a pre-chorus, this is one of the best pre-choruses in rock and roll. Easy. Fantastic. Wonderful songwriting here. You got the acoustic verses, and then we go into the pre-chorus, and then the driving hard guitar riffs kick in. And then we go right into that chorus, which is really mellow and eventually when we go into the solo, we go into a little bit of a jazz guitar solo, which BTO like to bring in on all their albums. There was always some little jazz guitar thing that would throw you off a little bit, but just to show you that we're just not like a three-chord heavy rock band. We have a lot more to us than that. We're a lot more versatile. Fantastic track. My favorite, you can argue it's their best song that I don't believe it was a single. It's just certainly their best deep track. Roll On Down the Highway was a top 15 single here in the United States. We got C.F. Turner on the lead vocal here again. Very driving rhythm. Very memorable vocal on here. Short chorus, but short, memorable chorus. But it just rocks. It's very driving, fast paced. Excellent solo on here. Another thing, Blair and Randy trade off some solos on a few of these songs, and they sound magical together. I think this was the best lineup of Bachman Turner Overdrive. Excellent track, and of course, this is one of their biggest hits. You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet is their biggest hit, number one single here in the States. Probably their second most enduring song next to Taking Care of Business. Taking Care of Business, you seem to hear a little more. You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet with that stuttering chorus from Randy Bachman. Works very well. This is just, you got the acoustic and electric guitar blend here that sounds very well. Bachman Turner Overdrive always did this very well. Excellent track. Very memorable pre-chorus on here again. And another short but very memorable chorus. The guitar solo during the fade out is very, very cool, as well as Randy's ad libs. This is one of the great rockin' songs from the mid 70s at a time that the mid 70s, it seemed like hard rock wasn't getting represented much on the radio. You heard a lot more mellower stuff. This, along with like Bad Company's self-titled debut, were like two of the few that you really heard on that crossed over to AM radio. Excellent. Freewheeling. This is the instrumental brought in by Blair Thornton. This is a pretty cool instrumental. You know, it's very mid-pace. It's like a shuffle. It's kind of like a march beat going on from Robbie Bachman. You got some great solos here from both Blair and Randy. They both get a turn to do a lead, and it's excellent. And you also have a part where they all do a different little solo, including CF and Robbie. Really cool instrumental. Sledgehammer. Remember when Pete Pardo was talking about this on Sea of Tranquility? He always said this song was fun. And this is why. It's soft, loud. It's a duet between Randy and CF. Randy does the verses, and there's this very tranquil feel during the verses. And then it goes in the chorus, and then CF goes into that really gruff, soulful lead vocal, and then the loud guitars kick in. And it's fun, and it's great. It's fun to sing along to. It's just a really, really cool track, but it's got this ebb and flow to it, but it's also very, very catchy. Awesome song. Blue Monin, very, very strong track here. This is the only song, I want to just make sure I grab this. This is the only guest on here on slide guitar. We got Frank Trowbridge. He plays the slide guitar solos on here, which are very, very tasteful. Now CF handles this song, and it's just this really catchy shuffle. That's very cool. Awesome chorus on it. The guitar work on it from Frank and Randy and Blair, very, very classy and tasty. Just a great rock song. Second hand. Now we're getting heavier again. And that's the thing. Like CF may have had the heavier voice, but Randy's vocal was more melodic and more mellower. But he would sing a lot of heavy songs, which was pretty cool about this band. Second hand is wicked. It just rocks like fuck. The guitar solo that ends this is really cool. The guitar chords, very, you know, very poignant, very heavy. Very, very cool track. Giving it all away. Simple, killer rocker, a lot of fun. The lyrics on here, they're not really challenging. It's just a great rave up. We got a great intro with get the guitar intro on here, and then the vocals kind of follow that rhythm. It's very, very cool. And then in the chorus, it's just the guys singing over the drum beat, which is fun. Very cool way to end this album. BTO's Not Fragile. Now, Yes is Fragile. This would be the one that would break the band. I like Yes album a little more. The album after Closer to the Edge is to die for. They're my three favorite. I might have Drama a little bit behind Fragile at number 4. To me, I love this album. The high points on here are so high. Fragile is a song for the ages. Long distance run around into the fish. It's excellent. Hard as sunrise. Drama personified. Excellent. One of the best songs in progressive rock. I love it so much. And I love Bachman-Turner Overdrive's Not Fragile a little bit more. 9.5, 10. It's that close. You love different things about them. Wait, yes, I think, as I mentioned before, they have albums I think that are a little bit stronger. To me, this was Bachman-Turner Overdrive's high point. Not just commercially either. I think the other albums are all pretty good. They all have great songs, but I don't think they're great albums. They're like good to very good. This is all killer, no filler. And it's a cliche, but here it's definitely true. Here, slight amount of filler. Slight. The high points are so high. This is very lauded. This is much bigger seller. This has sold over 2 million copies here in the United States. This album has not been certified past gold I find it weird that this is still only gold certified, considering it was a number one album. I believe the only album by them that is certified platinum is Best of BTO so far, and I believe that's double platinum here in the States. I have a hard time believing Not Fragile only sold 500,000 copies. I'm sorry. No, no, this had to sell a million copies by 75 or 76. But my opinion, Not Fragile, slightly over fragile. So, what do you think of these albums? Are you a bigger fan of Bachman-Turner Overdrive or Yes? Do you think that Not Fragile was Bachman-Turner Overdrive's peak or that Fragile was Yes's peak? Do you think either of these bands have better albums? Do you think I'm off my rocker for picking Not Fragile over Fragile because I know Fragile is the most enduring album in airplay? The songs have aged very, very well, and Fragile was a milestone in progressive rock, and the fact that it crossed over to AM, crossed over to the masses. Please let me know in the comments what you would choose, Fragile or Not Fragile. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will have another Album Wars show that a few of you have been looking forward to in the next few days or so. I just really had to ingest these albums because I'm doing 4 albums for this next one. And just to let you know of some upcoming programming, Monday, April 7, 2025, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me as I am on Grant's Rock Warehouse along with the incomparable Grant Arthur, Yvonne the Music Man, BM Bolts, DC Tune Time, Johnny Meadow. Who else is going to join us? Maybe Ernesto Ramos will join us as we talk about our 10 favorite songs from 1989 that will be live on Grant's Rock Warehouse. So thank you all so much for joining me. Let me know what you think of today's album war. Do what you love, and I'll talk to you soon.